Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I am here with the 7th day of my Thankfully Inspired series. And today I am going to talk about the other scrappy sister, the lovely Jess. And I have a couple of layouts from her. I'm going to document these pictures from watching the Napoleon Dynamite adventure at the Opera House. I'll get into that a little bit. I am using a Hip Kit Club collection called Good Things Ahead. And I have a pile of papers. I thought these colors would work really well. And so I'm hoping to use up some of the embellishments in here. And I have a stencil, scrapping reflection stencil, and some colors. So I have my papers. I have my embellishments. I've got some mixed media and a stencil. I've got my pictures. And then these two super cool layouts by the lovely Jess. So let's see how this goes. All right, so first I'm going to start with the stencil and just push through a couple of different blues. The first one is Chip Sapphire, and then I kind of just add prize ribbon right on top of it. And then I am going to kind of blend them a little bit together, kind of to get a darker blue, but I also wanted it to be different shades in different places. Now, the stencil work that Jess has on hers might be more of a paste. I can't tell for sure, but it does look kind of like it might be a paste, and I am definitely not using a paste. So the beginning part of my layouts are going to be mostly from this. Now, the layout that you see up in the top left corner, I pretty much do that and then add triangles to the left side. Honestly, in the end, that's really kind of what happens. So I use a couple papers from the Hip Kit collection to do this really cool triangular effect that she's got going on. I did distress that white paper with the blue kind of wonky lines on it. Just that one. I did not distress the dark blue paper. And then I go about making triangles. Now, anyone who watches this, who watched any of the last couple of, I don't know, my whole life working with triangles is not my thing. I don't like them. They don't like me back. I failed geometry twice. So thanks, Miss Heisel, for finally getting me through. So I am not a fan. So I end up making a circle, cutting it into fours, and then I end up cutting the daggone curve off. And the interesting thing about it is the triangles I end up with are the ones I first started with pretty much, except a little smaller. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I feel like my plan was to make them bigger, but I wanted to use the same paper. So A, I wasn't wasting and making a bunch of more scraps for myself, and B, it all worked together. But, yeah, you know what? It's fine, you all. It's fine. And I do like the way that the layout turns out. Do not get me wrong. But my triangular little feature to the left is not anywhere near as lovely as the one that you can see portrayed in this top left corner with Jess's layout. Hers is stunning. She's got like florals all tucked in around it. It is gorgeous and eye-catching for someone who hates triangles. What was I thinking? I don't know, but it was so beautiful, and I was like, oh, I want to try and do. Yeah, listen, go watch Jess's video if she has one for that layout, because maybe she'll teach you how to cut a triangle. I do have stencil, or not, well, I have stencils too, but I do have dies for triangles. Why would I not pull those out and use them? I don't know, because that would be a smart thing to do, you big nut. Anyway, it's fine. I put the triangles on there. I like the way everything ends up in the end, or turns out in the end. So all is well. So my picture cluster is very similar to hers in this layout. So I kind of stuck with that, as well as where I'm going to kind of tuck away a lot of my embellishments. I put some tickets in here. I put like this epic. Let me tell you about these pictures really quick, and then I'm going to talk to you about the lovely Jess. We went to work at the Opera House like we always do, me and my friend Courtney, and it was a production of, and when I say production, I mean they actually were showing the movie of Napoleon Dynamite. It was like the 20th or 25th anniversary of Napoleon Dynamite. What I did not know when I signed up to do it, first of all, I've never seen the movie. It's fine. What I did not know is the three of the actors from the movie were going to be there and do like a Q&A at the end of the evening. So they came out at the end, which is the other small picture up on the top. But the first picture is a cake that one of the volunteers at the Opera House created. And if you know anything about Napoleon Dynamite, because Courtney, who I was with, was like, oh my gosh, that's so epic. So like everything on this cake was edible down to a piece of paper that's on the other side that you can't see. Amazing. It was beautiful work. And like I said, it was just a volunteer who works at the Opera House with us. So it was such a cool thing. And being a part of this neat adventure was a lot of fun. I still didn't watch the movie. I worked and then I went and sat down for a while and then I went back. I watched some of it. But anyway, I've been told it's a wonderful movie. So anywho, other than that, I'm just going to build some clusters and do some things. I do put a little something in the bottom right corner, which she does not have on either of her layouts, but I felt like I needed space for journaling and I didn't want to continue adding over here on the left. So if you haven't already gone to hunt down the Scrappy Sisters after I talked about Katie yesterday, please take this time to do it because I adore both of them so much. Jess is such a lively scrapbooker. I love listening to the stories that she tells and how she talks you through what she's creating and explains some things and talks about like the collection she's using or where she gets it. Like with her sister, I love to listen to her talk. She could read me the phone book if there was a phone book out there to read. I just love to listen to them talk, but she's so perky and upbeat and has such a positive, just the way that she communicates and does her videos. It just makes me smile. And again, the very beginning of me creating videos online, I started making them in March of 2021. And they were kind of sporadic. And I had, 50 subscribers or something like that up until like the end of August. And then September came around and I decided that I was going to try and do the scrap timber prompts with the 30 days of sketches that they had all combined that year. And that was really what encouraged me was Jess and Katie and doing the scrap timber and Laura Alberts, who used to do that with them. And it was such a neat experience to listen to them and talk about how things are different there in different ways, but also just listening to them talk about their kids. I love to listen to people talk about their families because it's so neat to see how things are different or the same, and it helps just connect us all, and I just love that. But they're super inspirational. Jess is such a cool person, and I just appreciate her and all that they put into creating their channel. And they like during Scrap Timber, they take turns. Like one will do the first and one does the second, and back and forth. So, but here are the two layouts again that I used of Jess's to create my own little inspired layout. I do love how it turned out. I love her layouts. That one with the big, the one that I pretty much like scrap lifted. I just think it is such a cool layout and such a neat idea. And for someone who hates triangles, I really picked a lot of triangles. So, but anyway, please go and check out the Scrappy Sisters. I can't imagine that you haven't already because they are just amazing. And I appreciate them. Jess, I appreciate you so much. And thank you so much for inspiring us and encouraging us and just being there to continue helping with this wonderful creation and craft that we all are a part of. I'd love it if you all would give me a thumbs up if you like my video and or my layout. And I hope you all have a fantastic day. Hope you get a chance today to do something you love with someone you love. And happy scrapping.